Okay, hello, welcome back to another game of chess. We're playing e4 as per usual. Of course, we see a Sicilian, so we're going to go for a Mangarini Sicilian with a3. We will see knight c6. Come on now. Allowing me to go for b4, of course. These very nasty Sicilian Mangarini ideas. They accept c3, drive that knight away, and then claim the full center with d4. Will they play d... Oh my god. It's oh so sweet. It's oh so sweet when your opponent walks directly into some preparation. This is the most subtly venomous move in my entire repertoire. We're going to take the knight here, and for those of you who've been subscribed to my channel for more than half a second, you'll know we're going to put it on a3. Now, why on earth will we do this? Well, effectively, we are beelining for b5 with that knight. I mean, a6 even can't stop us doing that. Knight f6 is one of the three most common moves in this position. Knight f6, e6, and e5, all of which are blunders. Maybe blunders is a bit harsh, at least mistakes though, because knight b5 here, the queen most likely returns to her home square to defend this c7 fork here. I mean, unless you want to play a move like king d8, which is a reasonable response, by the way. King d8 is actually playable. However, there is a fairly obvious concession in doing so. Most people, as we see, choose to go back with the queen, and now I can play d5. Hanging a pawn in one move. I mean, this is attacked twice and defended once, you know? How does that work? Well, of course, if knight takes, we play queen takes. And then after the queen takes, we can fork back the queen. Not only dislodging the king, but also, I mean, effectively, they've given up a knight for a pawn in that line. So then the question is, well, okay, if I can't take, I've got to move this knight. Where to? A5 doesn't seem all too appetizing. B8 also doesn't seem all too appetizing. Probably you want to at least try to go to e5 here, trying to maintain some level of activity with this piece. Unfortunately, I've had this position many times. I've taught this position to individual people many times, by the way. WillTaylorChess.com if you want one-to-one coaching. Whoa, my opponent does elect to go for knight to b8. Now, I mean, if they played knight to e5, we were going to hit them with bishop f4. I see no reason not to play bishop f4 here, just bolstering the threat of the fork, given that they've played knight b8. If they come out here with the knight, dude, it's too easy. Sack the flipping rook, insert Gotham chess screaming, hit them with the check, force the king to come to here, of course, and I do believe queen to a4 is checkmate. Oh, they want a rematch. Okay, there's no need to analyze that one. We're going to give this person a rematch because that was a perfect game. Analysis would just be me walking through it, confirming that every move is exactly what I wanted to play. The Mangarini is a filthy opening, and I have spent a lot of time looking at it. We're going to play a Scandinavian here. We're going, of course, for the rematch because not quite sure that was enough for a video. We're going to play knight to f6 here, the modern variation of the Scandinavian, of course. They play knight c3. I will take. Should they take? I'm going to recapture with the queen, of course. I can pre-move this. Maybe they play bishop c4. Fair enough, they don't. They instead play c4. Now, I'm not a big fan of c4. The reason being that you massively concede this d4 square. You know, d4 becomes a hole here. You can never play c3 to play d4. Now, I probably should have done some amount of preparation here because clearly this is at least a candidate move for people. But if I just go back with my queen, you can play d4 and you just get a nice center. I'm thinking queen to a5. We prevent them playing d4 and then build up with knight c6, with e5. And we squeeze as hard as we can here on the d4 square, not letting them play it and having a nice control of the center. Knight c6, we can play e5. We can even go bishop here to pin the knight to immobilize their piece, which is, you know, fighting for this square right now. Yeah, this is nice. I really like this. They're going to be able to castle, which will mobilize the d pawn, of course. It's currently pinned. But now the queen served her purpose here. d4 wasn't immediately playable. And now we've got two pieces defending it. I think this has, broadly speaking, been successful. Now, of course, because my opponent's castled kingside, I desperately wish for nothing more than to castle queenside. So I should probably develop this bishop. Where to? I did mention bishop g4. There's no tactical issue with that I can see. So, I mean, I might as well. Gives me the flexibility to, if I choose to, trade off this knight. I highly doubt I will. And if they play h3, I mean, we might even think about a little h5, although I doubt that would actually work. Okay, they play d3. You see, this is kind of uncomfortable. Their bishop has 0 legal moves here. Their claim to the center is massively curtailed, and we're dominating the square. So now I just get to castle, and we're even more dominating the square. This is a dream position for me out of the opening, really. They do get rid of my queen from a5, but again, my queen probably wanted to move from a5 quite soon. I do need to be worried about a quick b4, b5. You know, opposite side castling position in general. Both players should probably be trying to mobilize a pawn storm on opposite sides of the board, and they already have some progress here with this c pawn. It doesn't seem completely obvious where to put my queen. b6 makes some sense, I guess. Kind of want to be able to play bishop c5 if you go bishop e3. So, okay, I'm going to say that my opponent likely goes for a3 here. If they do, that's going to telegraph clearly they're looking to play b4, expand with either c5 or b5, and try and crack open this king. If they don't, I'll be relatively happy because then I can get on with shenanigans such as f6, g5, h5, throw some pawns at my opponent's king. But again, just the fluidity of play through the center is drastically limited. Oh, I just hung a pawn. Okay, honestly, I don't quite mind, but I'm not going to pretend that I saw that. If takes here, they can just play queen takes. And then after I take here, hold on, queen takes here, I get to play rook takes here. But then the problem is queen to f5 check. Hits my rook, hits my king. I get rook d7. And I guess I'm defending f7 as well in doing that. Maybe I play like queen g6 later, try and get this open and a bishop to d6. Okay, quite a lot of arrows going on here. Maybe I should chill out. Damn it, I can't believe I just hung that e-pawn. I should have played f6 way earlier. Although I don't know exactly when. We'll have a little look at the analysis. I can take here, takes. The check's given. So knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes. I mean, I could throw away a pawn for an open f5. I don't think that's a great idea, though. We'll play like maybe king b8 there. Pressure on d3 is reasonable. Maybe I play h5 with tempo. I feel like either way, I'm just losing a pawn here. Okay, I'm going to go for bishop takes here. After queen takes, knight takes here. Rook d3, presumably queen f5. Rook d7. I don't think my position is the end of the world, and I think we retain the material. Not exactly like I'm playing for much of an advantage, of course. And I'm maybe a bit scared about stuff like this, actually, just immediately. I guess I could choose to not take this and instead just play bishop d6. Because if I just go rook here and then bishop e3 happens, then I guess like probably queen d6 or e6 is playable. Okay, I will go rook here. I'd rather not be down the pawn here. I mean, queen f5 seems kind of convincing, but then rook d7. You can then move the bishop, but I get to go like queen g6 and ask a question of this queen. Hardly playing particularly romantically right now. I mean, I hope that first game gave you your fill of romance. Hold on. I might have to retract what I just said. It might be pure romance here. They can just take with the queen. I was hoping we could get some counterplay with a nasty little sacrifice, but I'm just kind of doubting it, honestly. Okay, queen, I guess. I just really don't want to have this loose. I'd rather not blunder here. If you trade, I mean, this is beyond equal. You're not taking on here because I have b6, king b7. There is this. Is there? Should I be remotely concerned? Queen d8. What's the move here? Are you just taking on f... Wow, okay. I like this. I'm a big fan of this because hopefully if I play like bishop d6, they're just going to go here. Oh no, wait, bishop d6. Check king b8. You take my rook, I go here. Let's start with bishop d6. I want some activity. I want to start doing something interesting. They may think they have a tactic winning this, but of course in the end I get bishop h2 and we win back the queen on that d3 square. Kind of hoping that they blunder. Oops, no way. They just went blunder in the chat. Now maybe they've realized. I think perhaps they've realized here. Yep, there we go. Took them a second. Okay, they've played g3. This is inducing some weakness. I'm happy about this. At some point, maybe this is appropriate. Maybe even now. I highly doubt it, but it could be kind of funny. And being kind of funny is practically the only reason I ever play moves. Although this rook looks to be basically trapped, so I'm not best pleased right now. I'm pretty sure I just have to move my bishop here. This is actually very bad, I think. I mean, maybe they were right that it was a blunder. I just don't think it was for the reason they originally thought. I'll just quickly play bishop e7 because I'm really not looking to just lose on time here. I am just down a pawn here with very little compensation for that. At least you don't have immediate, pressuring ideas that threaten mate, because of course my bishop holds c5. I'm thinking, I guess if we get h5 and h4, this is a fairly clear plan. They've created a hook, we can maybe bite on it. They do come over and threaten this. I can play b6, but I do the exact thing that I just mentioned. Probably wouldn't be ideal for my opponent to do. But also, in doing this, I win enough tempo that I think it's worth it. Maybe they just step back here, maybe they come in, who knows? Who knows, and frankly, who cares? Because I'm thinking, I'm just dying to do this and play bishop c5, but I need the queen kind of sidelined. Okay, but here now, I'm just going to go for it. They're probably going to play this because they are extremely scared. However, if they do, you got two pawns currently defending this. If one of them stops defending this, it's maybe tactics that manifest if we can sack this to stop the other from defending this. Imagine h4 takes, and really? Here? a5 takes. That cannot make any sense. I just don't believe you. I know you're trying to do some kind of... Actually, no, that wouldn't make any sense because I always have like queen c8. That was fairly insane to let me bite on that hook. They now come here. I guess like pinning this. I can take. I open the rook. This cannot be a bad move. If you take like this, you're getting checked. If you do this, I just don't believe you here. Bishop c5, surely? Has to create some idea. I can't go check. Let's start with bishop c5. This just makes a lot of sense. I'm dreaming of a rook sack here. I don't know, like maybe I play queen g5. Maybe, okay, hold on. a5, queen g5. Because if takes, we go rook takes, pawn takes, checkmate. Because of course this pin exists. So if a5, queen g5, I think we're just threatening too much stuff. I think we have too much activity. I think the queen's weirdly sidelined here. And if a5, queen g5, I don't know, like king g2, that might be kind of effective. But then we slip onto the light squares and we're threatening both queen f3 and queen h... Yeah, I don't think a4 was playable. Your attack just wasn't fast enough. No way they play a5. Is queen g5 the right idea? We're getting up. We're ready to come in here, and we're ready to... In fact, obviously, we'd sack the queen for the mate if we could. This just makes a lot of sense to me. I don't see why we wouldn't play queen g5. It's just every piece is great. Every piece is absolutely fantastic. Very well placed. You simply have to play a defensive move here. Neither of your rooks have any activity whatsoever. And I'm, of course... Yeah, the king comes up, and now I just go across here, right? Or I go this way. I don't know if it matters which. I'm going to go here just to open up the possibility of this check. Not that I'd want to give it necessarily. I mean, I'm clearly going in either here or here. But this queen g5 just to slide up and be now on the light squares. Clearly these light squares are kind of weak, and you seem to only be able to defend one infiltration, and then I should be able to, I think, sack a rook. Like, imagine f3 here, check here. That's slightly more complicated, actually. Hold on. f3. I mean, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure I'm just bad at chess, but I guess f3 I'd maybe have check here. Damn, okay. I think f3 is slightly more resilient than I thought. But can I even just go like rook d2, king here, and then like queen c2? Or I guess just f3 check here and then rook d2. What am I talking about? Just f3 flipping check here and we can just take this bishop. Okay, yeah, fine. I'm pretty sure this is just an easy win now. And they play rook a3. I mean, I could hang my queen if I really wanted, but you'd have to imagine there's a forced mate here, right? Here. Oh, no, because the rook holds. Damn it. I thought we had here, queen sack here, mate, but the flipping rook, that is wildly annoying. Damn, that's such a resilient move. Check. Oh, wait, hold on. Check just here and then, yeah, okay. I think this works instead. We go for this check. Clearly, it would be nice to sack the queen, but I believe rook a3 maybe precludes that possibility. They do have this, though. No, they don't have this. Wow. Yeah, I mean, when you just develop all your pieces, and then I think it's time for sacrificing the rook. There's no way I sack my queen here. Unfortunately not. It's mate in one next move. This is an absolutely ridiculous game. GG to my opponent. I mean, you're not getting another rematch, mate, I'm sorry. Just before I hop into the analysis of this game, which does actually require an analysis, unlike the first game, if you're enjoying this video and you want to see more like it, and you also enjoy my channel and fancy supporting it, I would be eternally grateful if you could check out the link in the description to the Will Taylor Chess Patreon. Every single Sunday for the rest of eternity, I'd assume, I'll be posting a Patreon-exclusive bonus video of some of the finest chess, much like the video you've just witnessed, or rather are currently witnessing. We're going to do a bit of analysis of this game, of course. And those of you who are already on the inside, I'm sure can attest that it is 100% worth it, and you should, without a single doubt, at least check it out. As you'll see at the end of this video, you'll also get your names included in all of my videos on YouTube, which, given the extent to which each of these is an immortal masterpiece in and of itself, will allow you to claim your part of history. So check it out, I'd really appreciate it. It would go a long way to supporting the channel. If you're not interested, I regardless massively appreciate your viewership. Let's get on with analysing this game. So, opponent went e4, and we went for this modern Scandinavian. c4 cannot be, yeah, okay, never played in the Masters database. I mean, it's played once in the Masters database, but hardly ever. And against a 1975, I'm assuming that's FIDE rating. There's no way that can be a master otherwise. Also, what kind of Masters 1975? Anyway, this is clearly not a fantastic move. And in fact, in the database, the only time that we've seen this, the 24-34 rated player played this queen a5 at it. Is it the best move? Okay, engine prefers queen e4, but then after queen here, yeah, it just wants you to trade the queens. I'm not trying to do that, so I actually really like this queen a5, basically fighting for d4. And I think, honestly, opening wise, this was a very effective setup and a decent plan and pretty cohesive stuff. Sorry about that. I then shouldn't have put the bishop there. Instead, oh, the engine likes e4. Why didn't I even consider that? I guess I was so focused on keeping a hold of d4. Knight here is not possible, of course. Okay, Jesus. Yeah, that makes e4 a lot more convincing. Fair enough. In the future, should I get this exact position, which is plausible but highly unlikely that I get it, you know, even close to regularly, I will try and remember e4. But bishop g4, they went d3. They had this knight e5. Okay, yeah, the whole problem with bishop to g4 was, with all this messing around, they had knight e5 a bunch of times. I completely missed that somehow. Takes here, and then rook here is actually a very bad move indeed. It says inaccurate, but already my opponent's plus 2.2. They should apparently have played rook a to d1, which makes sense. And then I guess the problem is if here they do actually have this check, because no longer do I have a discovery on h2 winning the queen. Okay, yeah, that does make sense. I was playing like a bit of a buffoon. Instead, yeah, this wasn't ideal. I went for this, obviously setting a small trap. My opponent should have gone for c5 here. Ooh, that's a good point, actually. I don't know why they didn't go for c5. I'd have been tempted if they had to sack my rook. I wonder how terrible that is. Yep, okay, we're just not even going to think about that. Instead, they went for this check, and yeah, the chat suggested that they thought they could take this rook, and then probably realized bishop h2 was a problem, so instead pushed the pawn. But now, I mean, we step back so that my rook's saved, and at this point, I mean, we've got the hook. However, we've got there, we've got the hook, and it's time to go h5, clearly best move, h4, clearly best move, takes here, clearly best move, bishop c5, clearly best move. This is then a blunder. God damn it, I thought I was going to be a genius with queen g5. Hold on, you're not going to tell me I should have sacked the rook first and then played queen g5? I will cry if that's possible. I hate this game. Which, I mean, I love this game because that's beautiful, but I hate that I didn't see it. Here, this is the only move, and then is it queen g5? No, queen g5, there's queen c6. But if I play queen d6, there's no queen c6, and we threaten to take this, and if here... If I'm being stupid, I apologize. I don't understand. No flipping way you play a6 here. Oh my lord, you do. a6, because if takes, I'm assuming queen c6 was my idea. Yep, queen c6. And if you push this, then I guess just queen e6. Okay, hold on. I'm not even close to sad that I didn't see this. You've got to sack the rook in this line to play queen d6 to not allow queen c6 to get back along here to be threatening this. And after the king comes up, you've got to play a6 to deflect the queen, give the check, and when the pawn pushes, just play queen e6 because you have this and you have this check, and the rook can't come up here to block because of the bishop. I mean, yeah, there's like, maybe I see that in some kind of classical game, but also if my aunt had wheels, she'd be a bike. So instead I went for queen g5, which all things considered is actually a very reasonable move. It's a missed win, not a blunder. You know, we're still doing well. When they played a5, they gave me this opportunity to play a ridiculous sequence. However, missing that, we go back to the evaluation, roughly speaking, before a5. And of course, queen g5 is very venomous. They should have played here queen to c6. Okay, this was their only moment to not lose the game by playing queen c6 and bringing the queen back to defend, which is understandably not a particularly obvious move. They instead bring the king up, which I also suggested. However, I was then very aware that, you know, queen f5, we're just going in here, going in here. Rook a3 is inventive, of course. If I get overexcited and I try and go for some interesting, like, rook sack checkmate, oh dear, because this still hangs. However, we do just have check here. Sack the flipping rook, and I mean, you can't take with this pawn. If you take with this pawn, we've got two different mates, and if you take with the rook, of course, we have that checkmate on h2, a simple remove the defender and mate. Of course, we had the open h file because they created a hook. We played h5, h4, and took as quickly as possible. And if we just go back to where the game actually ended, look how that ended up for them. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to check out the Patreon, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.